Hey folks, Dale Davidson here. Got a video today. A lot of people call in our office and they're asking, hey, estate planning versus elder care planning, what's the difference? Well, stand by because we're going to go over both of those topics in just a few minutes. But thank you for tuning in. So, if you want the government to tell you who's going to get your property, when they're going to get your property, and how they're going to get your property, then you're truly an island unto yourself. As I've never heard of someone who intentionally wants the government to be all up in their business. Okay? I don't want the government in any part of my business. So that's why I think it's important for everybody to have an estate plan. It doesn't matter if you're rich and famous or if you're just getting by paycheck to paycheck. You got a house, you got a car, you got some assets. You need to have a will to at least control or determine who's going to get your property. Let me give you an example. Husband and wife, second marriage. Okay? Husband wants his children from his first marriage to receive something. Wife wants to be taken care of. So what happens if the husband doesn't have a will? Well, let's just say that the husband had 2 children from a previous marriage. Under Georgia law, and the state intestacy law, wife would get 1/3 and his children would get 2/3. Okay? But the better thing to do in that case would be to say, have a will and say, okay, now I want my spouse to get this, and I want my children from a previous marriage to get this. Don't leave it up to the government. So let's talk about the basics of an estate plan. Durable power of attorney. It's only effective during your lifetime. When you pass away, it goes away. So your agent cannot exercise your durable power of attorney after your death. That power is now reserved to the executor of your estate who's been appointed by the probate court. So a power of attorney is basically you're giving somebody power over your property during your lifetime if you're unable for any reason to make important decisions regarding your finances and property. Meaning, I'm not able to pay my bills, so I've got somebody to pay my bills for me. Okay? Important document number 1. Important document number 2, an advance directive for health care. Only effective during your lifetime. This is power over your person, okay, during your lifetime. So if you're unable for any reason to make important decisions regarding your health and well-being, make your health care decisions, understand what your doctor's telling you, those kinds of things, then you've got somebody appointed to make that decision. Likewise, that usually encompasses a living will that says if you're in a coma, persistent vegetative state, being kept alive by artificial means, you do or do not want certain things administered to you. And then the third most important document, of course, is your will. Now, your will is only effective on your death. So whomever's in charge, we call them the executor or the personal representative, goes to the probate court and says, hey, Dale's passed away, I'm the named executor, appoint me. The court appoints that person, and then they gather the assets, pay the bills, and then if they have to sell property, they sell property, okay? And then they distribute your property to your named beneficiaries under your will. And that could be anybody, okay? It could be anybody. So let me give you some reasons why you need all 3 of these documents. Let's say that you're a single parent with minor children. Who's going to pay your bills if you're incapacitated? Who's going to make your medical decisions if you can't make your medical decisions? Who's going to take care of your children upon your passing? Who's going to take care of your children if you become incapacitated? I mean, all of those things need to be addressed can be addressed in a durable power of attorney, advance directive, and last will and testament. Let's say that you have an adult child who's going off to college or still at home but out in the working world. If your child is going off to college and you don't have access to their college records, meaning their grades, okay, unless you have something signed by your child giving you permission to access, you don't have access, okay? You can't check on your kids' grades, okay? Now, this is a true story. Guy goes off to college for 2.5 years before his parents find out that he failed out of college in the first year. He just liked to party. So, yeah, he signed up, paid the tuition and all that, and then was asked to go somewhere else at the end of the first year. So after the first year was over, he acted like nothing happened, continuing the charade for 1.5 more years. His parents didn't have access to his records. They never asked for it until they became suspicious. So finally the gig was up and they asked, okay? Now, he could have been a turd and said no, but of course he confessed. But the point being is that the parents, even if they had tried, would not have access to their wayward son's college records without their son's signature. So if your kids are going off to school, you need to have access to their college records, and you need to have a medical power of attorney or advance directive that if they are hurt, that you have the ability to contact the doctors and medical professionals and make decisions for your child, okay? So you just need to have those documents even if your child is off at college or maybe at home working. Still, they need to have it. Anybody over the age of 18 needs to have a durable power of attorney and advance directive for health care. So, we talked earlier about if you don't have a will, the government has one for you. So if you don't have a durable power of attorney, then if you can't take care of your finances and pay your own bills, then the family's going to have to march down to the courthouse and file a petition for conservatorship. It's expensive, they got to put up a bond, all that blah, blah, blah. Remember, a conservator is someone who has power over your property, okay? So if you don't have an advance directive for health care and you can't make your health care decisions, again, your family's going to have to march down to the courthouse and file for a guardianship. Remember, guardianship has power over your person. So that's basically what estate planning is, those 3 basic documents. So what is elder care planning? Elder care planning is a critical part of a senior's long-term care. It's often the most overlooked aspect, as many of us, we make significant effort planning for other life phases, maybe retirement, home ownership, child's college education. Heck, we spend more time planning for our vacations than we do for our long-term care. So what all this means is that decisions about a senior's long-term care are often knee-jerk reactions. Often we're faced with a crisis. Mom or dad or grandparents have got to go into a skilled nursing. What do? It's better if we don't have this 11th hour planning, if we can plan in advance. Now, that shouldn't be the case, but that's what it is. So I just think that families need to make elder care solutions a priority in making sure that their parents' health and well-being, safety and security are taken care of. So exactly what is in an elder care plan? So basically it's a plan to help seniors enjoy a healthy life as they age. It's just kind of like a life care plan. We plan for our retirement and we plan for vacations. You know, we're trying to plan for what if mom or dad have to go into a nursing home? What if somebody has a catastrophic health ailment? what are we going to do? Hopefully those will never come to pass, but it's better to go through those what if scenarios than be faced with a crisis at the 11th hour. So planning ahead is always the best thing. So some folks refer to long-term care as geriatric care. I don't like that term, okay? I prefer long-term care. So when you're out there Googling all of the stuff, geriatric care, long-term care, it's the same thing. So as a long-term care planner, how do I help my folks? Well, number one is estate planning. We make sure they have powers of attorney, advance directives, a living will, life-sustaining treatments, among other issues. I think of long-term care planning with estate planning as estate planning on steroids, basically. So we look at the different ways to pay for long-term care and what would happen if you or your spouse needed to go into a nursing home. Nobody wants to go into a nursing home. I understand that. But just realize 70% of us will need long-term care at some point in time in our life. Long-term care meaning a stay in a nursing home. Not necessarily a permanent stay, but a stay in a nursing home. So the world's population is aging at a fast rate. So everybody's living longer. Every day until the year 2030, there's about 10,000 baby boomers turning 65. And so, like I said, 70% of people will require long-term services in their lifetime. People refer to this as the silver tsunami. So let me give you some startling numbers. The average cost of someone, if you needed long-term care, but you brought somebody into your home, okay, according to Genworth, it's an insurance company, the average cost to bring someone into your home to care for you is about $5,100 a month. A month, not a year, a month. The average cost of assisted living is $4,500 a month. And the average cost of a nursing home is a whopping $9,000 plus per month. Now, I'm going to caution you because these costs don't include your normal housing expenses. You own a house, you have taxes, utilities, upkeep, maintenance, all of that, okay? If you have a spouse or a dependent, this doesn't include money to take care of them. This is just the cost for you if you are in a long-term care facility. You can see the importance of planning ahead of time as to how we're going to pay for that. And there are different ways. So here's some of the elder care services that we address with our folks. Okay. Number one, we look at personal care. That's one of the most important things that we address with our seniors is personal care, because we want to make sure that they're taken care of. Their health, maintenance, safety, security, all of that, okay? We want to look at medication management, nutrition and meal support. Who's going to be fixing the meals? Who's going to be buying the groceries, okay? Mobility and transportation. Who's going to take mom and dad to the doctor? Mom and dad may still can drive, but should they drive, okay? Let's look at their health care. That's why the advance directive for health care is so important. So you take mom and dad to the doctor so you're able to talk to the doctors and nurses and get whatever kind of documentation and information you need. Money management. That's where the power of attorney comes into play, okay? How are we going to pay for mom and dad's care, whether they be in a nursing home, at home, assisted living, whatever it may be. So money management and the power of attorney is very important. Safety and security is another issue we look at. Look, there's a bunch of scammers out there just waiting to get your mom or dad to bail a grandson out that's in prison, that's been arrested, or buy this Apple card and give us the number because you won the lottery, or whatever it may be. There's a lot of scammers out there. So we're looking at the safety and security of our seniors. We look at social interaction. That's very important. Look, when COVID came along and everything was shut down, man, the social interaction among the seniors basically stopped. And to me, that was the worst thing that happened to our seniors, is that there was no more socialization. I know it happened to my dad. He was a social butterfly, always, out and about, talking to people, going to restaurants, the gym, whatever it may be. But he was not able to do that, so he suffered as a result. There's asset preservation for your parents' or grandparents' lifetimes. How do you get help to pay for long-term care? We help people choose long-term care facilities, and we can help in the admittance sometimes, okay? And then a lot of times we do look at the protection of your spouse if you have to go into a long-term care facility. Look, you're going to be taken care of if you're in that facility. The focus now is on your spouse to make sure he or she is taken care of at home. And if you're a veteran, we look at VA benefits if either one is a qualifying veteran. So those are some of the services that we look at in providing for our seniors. So look, adult children and other family caregivers often make plans to ensure that their loved one needs are met. That's great. However, discussing these solutions requires detail and patience from both parties. It's stressful. Nobody wants to talk about this with their parents or their grandparents, but it's kind of a dare I say, necessary evil, okay? So unless you're a professional, you might not be the best person to implement some of these steps. So what do we suggest? We love checklists, okay? We like checklists because this can help you get on track to plan. Let's look at essential things to include in your long-term care plan. Organize your mom and dad's paperwork. Put all their legal documents together. They should be all up to date. If mom and dad's wills dated back to 1900s, I'm joking, 1986 or whatever, let's get it up to date. If their power of attorney is older than 2017, get it up to date. If their advance directive is older than 2017, get it up to date. Very easy to do. All legal documents should be up to date, and copies of these documents should be in the hands of family members who's going to be acting as the advocate. So whoever's going to be the power of attorney holder, give them the copy of the power of attorney. Whoever's going to be the healthcare agent, give them a copy of the healthcare agent document. Give that to the hospital. Give that the healthcare agent document. Give that to the hospital. Give that to your parents' doctors. Okay, all of that. So the most important information to include in the list is the following. We've got to have a financial checklist. Okay, your wills, trust, bank accounts, investments, charge cards, life insurance. Okay, now if everybody's doing this online banking, make sure you got your passwords up to date and make sure that they are where somebody can access them if need be. Life insurance, make sure your policies are there. If they're not there, go ahead and order a replacement policy and put it in. Just get you a 3-ring binder and put it in there. Put together a list of your parents' advisors, the lawyer, accountant, doctors, tax advisors, whoever they may rely upon, okay? Do the healthcare checklist. Again, you got your living will, your long-term care insurance, if you've got that, a list of medications, okay? Anything like that dealing with healthcare, make sure you've got that checklist, okay? Make sure you got your basic insurance cards, your driver's license, friends, phone numbers, safety deposit boxes, marriage records, copies of birth certificates, copies of a DD-214 if you were in the military. Those kinds of things are important to have. Okay, we're looking to make sure that you have a roadmap for your heirs, that if something happens to you, whether you become deceased or you are incapacitated, that somebody can pick up your book, your 3-ring binder book, and look in there and make sure things are being taken care of. And last thing, coordinate. So, and we're talking about the caregivers in this case. The most important person in this whole plan is your parent, the senior, whoever's being taken care of, okay? And so if you're going to be making decisions, make sure for them, make sure you get their consent. Don't try to make decisions for them without talking to them first. Make sure they still have rights, okay? If you're a co-agent with a sibling or aunt or uncle or whoever it may be, make sure that there's a clear understanding of what's best, what both of y'all feel is best for mom or dad or grandparent, whoever you're caring for. A lot of times these folks would have dementia or some other incapacity. Again, as the healthcare agent, you would be making decisions on their behalf. But again, make sure that their rights aren't trampled. Make sure that they still have socialization, that they have people coming over and visiting them. Don't deny access to family members. That's just a recipe for disaster. You're the coordinator, you're the caregiver, but make sure that it's got to be in the best interest of your mom or dad or whoever you're caring for. Make sure that one person is kind of the central or the primary person to communicate with, especially doctors' offices like just to deal with just one person. But communication between co-agents is very important. So thank you for watching today. I know it was kind of a long video, but hey, check out this video. Everyone needs one of these, which deals with trust, that will help you and your family plan for your seniors' long-term care.